Okay, you ready? I'm here at the Newport Art Gallery for the 7th installment of the Friday Artist Spotlight with David Estep. We are preparing to reopen the gallery to the public and restarting our artist interviews until it's safe to reopen. David, thanks for taking the time to share with us today.
It's my pleasure.
So David, how have you and yours been doing through this uncertain time?
Well, fortunately, I've been able to work from home for most of the time. I was laid off for a few weeks, but I'm back working and things are going okay. Sure miss getting out and coming here and seeing my friends and stuff, but it's all good.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your background, what you've done in the past.
Yeah. Well, I went to art school after high school, down in Florida. And then right after that, I got into the sign business and was a sign designer and kind of moved up through that industry over the years, doing different things and whatnot. I'm still a sign guy. I work with Atlantic Sign Company right up here in Walnut Hills across the river. Love it there. So that's, my career's been mainly in the sign business.
Oh, that sounds good. It sounds exciting.
Yeah.
You get to meet a lot of people.
I love it. I love it.
What got you into producing your style of art, like what you've got right behind you there?
Well, it's kind of a long story, but my style is all, kind of developed after art school. I just started doing marker renderings for a few years. I mean, and just kept on doing this type of, studies and things until a kind of a style emerged from that. So from in the mid-90s, I was painting in enamels like these, but I wasn't showing or selling. Then the 2000s rolled around and I started getting into a digital mix, combining my illustrations with photography and manipulating those two elements together. And I stopped doing that probably about 2017 and wanted to do something different and took a year off kind of looking at paints and things like that. And that's when I got into these, and most of 2019 I was doing this type of work. These are house enamels, high gloss. Liked painting those, the larger sizes, getting something bigger than I was used to doing. So that was pretty exciting. That was kind of like 2019. I do have one enamel piece going on right now, but in 2020 I've kind of switched gears. I was doing some oil work last year, but now I've moved into a lot more oil use in different ways, out of a tube, oil sticks. The combination I'm working in iridescence, so it's some beautiful stuff. So I've got quite a few of these types of paintings going on right now. So.
Okay. Well, you kind of said some of what I was going to ask in the next question here. But tell us a little bit about your process and what you do to capture what you're doing here.
Well, a lot of people that are familiar with my art have seen the digital. So I use Photoshop for that. That allows you to create in layers. And I could put in 2 or 3 photographs with my illustration on top, and then manipulate colors, then produce that as a photograph on photo paper, on acrylic, things like that. The house enamels is pretty thick paint. It's not easy to work with, so I use foam brushes, but it also, enamel does not like to go on top of enamel, so you have to create, again, in layers. So there's probably 3 coats of each color here, and probably 4 of the black.
Okay. And that's to get the intensity you want also?
Exactly, to really get as much color as I can out of those. But again, it doesn't like going on top of each other, so you gotta work in layers. Now with the oils right now, again, I'm working in layers, creating color through layers instead of blending. I like creating art by putting art on top of, or creating color one on top of the other. And the beautiful thing about this material is is if I don't like something, I can just go back over it again and just create more and more layers. So, really enjoying this process right now.
Yeah, it's really affected by the lights.
Thank you.
What would you say to aspiring artists that are just getting into the industry and kind of don't have a direction and get discouraged sometimes? What would you say to keep them enthused and going?
Well, you know, that's a that's a great question, and it's difficult to answer because I think there's dozens and dozens of answers. But the way I think about it is, I think you really have to trust your creative instinct. You know, you can look at others' art and gain ideas and maybe techniques you want to try in your own directions and things like that, but you have to really trust your own creativity. And don't produce art with the idea that I'm going to sell and get rich, because, excuse me, that may or may not happen. You have to create, you know, for yourself and be happy with what you're creating. Choose subject matters of interest to yourself, and I think you know, everything else then just kind of comes about after that point. But you have to focus on, you know, what's important to you and your own thoughts and direction.
So would you say that being happy with what you're doing is probably one of the most important things?
Well, it's everything, isn't it? I mean, I do this because it makes me very happy. It gives me a way to express myself. I like to think I have a lot to say, you know, but
Really?
You know, that's why I keep creating.
Exactly. Well, hey, Dave, thanks for taking the time and being part of the port. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me out. We'll see you at the port.
Yes. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Let's watch it through and see if you're happy. The only thing I'm concerned about